Hello and welcome to Everyday Tarot, your daily dive into the divine wisdom of the tarot. I'm your host, Camille A. Saunders, healer, tarot enthusiast, and professional witch, and today I'll be talking about tarot and spiders. Whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore, this podcast offers daily insights, intuitive messages, and practical advice drawn from the cards. Each episode is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom, find clarity in your decisions, and tap into the energy of the universe. Tune in every day, Monday through Friday, for fresh perspectives and empowering guidance from the tarot as interpreted by me. If you love the show, the best way to support it for free is by listening daily, leaving a review, and subscribing or following in your favorite podcast app. If you weren't able to attend live or didn't register in time, you can get my virtual tarot card creation workshop with the full hour-long recording, my step-by-step method, examples of tarot cards I've created, journaling questions, and a PDF to walk you all through it for just $33. I'm also going to be offering a 12-week Tarot for Transformation live course starting at the end of this summer. So if you're interested, the sign-up link will be in the show notes for that. We will be talking about one card or archetype of the major arcana each week, embodying them, learning about it, doing journaling, and spending time discussing the cards each week. So if you want to deep dive into the major arcana with me, sign up for the Tarot for Transformation course. I did just update my Patreon benefits to be bigger and better than ever. So if you want an individual card pulled for you once a month live on the podcast, you can join the Everyday Tarot Patreon family at the lovers level. If you're local to the greater Puget Sound area, you can join us at our next Let's Talk Tarot meetup group event. And if you're interested in my free PDF with the 2025 5-card tarot spread I created just for you, my lovely listeners, at the beginning of this year, you can get that by joining my newsletter list. And if you don't already know, I am a sex and relationships therapist and coach, seeing clients virtually all over from my home office. I love working with queer, poly, and witchy clients. So if you'd like to work with someone that doesn't judge you, is witchy just like you, and helps you learn how to deal with anxiety, chronic pain or illness, communication issues, self-advocacy, and sex, head to my website and book a free consultation now to start your journey. You can find the links for any of these offers in the show notes or on my website, CamilleASaunders.com/everydaytarot, in addition to the images of the cards I pull on each episode. Alright, so welcome to season 12, our last episode where I've been talking all about tarot and animals. If you haven't listened to my other seasons yet, you can check those out. I've done tarot basics. I've gone through an episode about every single card in a traditional tarot deck, so 78 episodes of that. I've talked tarot and pop culture, tarot spreads, tarot and witchcraft, tarot and plant allies, and spoiler alert for season 13, I will be talking all about tarot and divination in the Harry Potter series, going through all different aspects, different characters, divination teacher, and all types of things, perceptions of divination and prophecies and tarot next season. So if you are a Harry Potter fan, look forward to that. But yeah, today we are wrapping up season 12, where I've been talking all about tarot and animals. And today I'm talking about tarot and spiders. So I'm going to do an animal description. We'll talk about symbolism or animal magic, and then its relation to the tarot. All right, so spiders, and I'm getting this info from Wikipedia, are air-breathing arthropods that have 8 limbs. They have fangs, generally able to inject venom, and spinnerets that extrude silk. They're the largest order of arachnids and rank 7th in total species diversity among all orders of organisms. Spiders are found worldwide on every continent except Antarctica and become established in nearly every land habitat. As of June 2025, 53,000 spider species in 136 families have been recorded by taxonomists. So anatomically, spiders, as with all arachnids, are different from other insect type things or other arthropods in their sort of like body makeup. So unlike insects, spiders do not have antennae. Spiders have the most centralized nervous system of all arthropods. And let's see what else. Their abdomen has these appendages that are modified into spinnerets that extrude silk from up to 6 types of glands, and spider webs vary widely in size, shape, and the amount of sticky thread used. It now appears that the spiral orb web may be one of the earliest forms, and spiders that produce tangled cobwebs are more abundant and diverse than orb weaver spiders. So when you see spider webs or cobwebs, right, you can pay attention to what type of spider was creating it. Is it more of a orb weaver, like an orb that's created, or this sort of more tangled cobweb? What else? There's a lot of info about spiders. There is like one species of spiders that are herbivores, but all other species are predators, mostly preying on insects and other spiders, although a few large species also take down birds and lizards. So, right, spiders vary a lot in size. Wow, it says an estimated 25 million tons of spiders kill 400 to 800 million tons of prey every year. So spiders are efficient. They are doing it all. So regardless of how you feel about spiders, probably if you don't like spiders, you're not listening to this episode, but if you see them in your home or things like that, right, remember that most of the time they are eating other insects or other spiders. And so that can be very helpful. And it's our home. You can have one spider versus many insects. What else? While the venom of a few species of spiders is dangerous to humans, spider venom, for the most part, only affects smaller animals or other insects. And it says scientists are now researching the use of spider venom in medicine and as non-polluting pesticides. Fascinating. Hopefully we won't create any spider people. Okay, let's see, what else do I want to share? Spiders are known for having lots of eyes. They have 4 pairs of eyes on the top front area of the front part of their body. It says, while in most arthropods they're only capable of detecting the direction from which light is coming, spiders, they can actually see images. And the other pairs of eyes that they have, secondary eyes, sort of help them more detect light reflected. And then different spiders have slightly different adaptations with that. And so they can see images. They can also use light, right, to tell, especially when they're jumping or falling or things like that, as to where they are and where they're going. It says the visual acuity of some jumping spiders exceeds by a factor of 10 that of dragonflies, which have by far the best vision among insects. So if you've ever wondered why jumping spiders can be pretty accurate, or any spiders, it's probably because they have pretty good vision compared to a lot of other insects. Let's see. Yeah, so many interesting things about spiders. They are in a wide range of sizes, right? Their body length can be 90 millimeters or 3.5 inches to about leg spans of up to 9 inches or 250 millimeters in tarantulas. The smallest spider is from Colombia, and it says it's less than 0.37 millimeters or 0.015 inches in length. So, right, they vary quite widely in size. Okay, let's stick with that for now, right? They have a lot of offense and defensive specialties. There are some spider species that build webs together in large colonies or show some social type behavior, although not as complex as in some social insects that we might talk about, like bees or ants or something like that. Yeah, okay. let's move into symbolism of spiders. So this is from TanyaCastile.com and her website, talking about meaning of spiders, and she associates them with patience. It says the spider is a symbol of creativity, patience, and interconnectedness, offering valuable lessons for self-improvement. Spiders are master weavers, right? Literally skillfully crafting intricate webs that serve as both their home and a tool for survival. This ability to create something functional and beautiful from within can inspire us to tap into our creative potential and weave the life we want. The spider teaches us that we are the architects of our own lives, and just as it builds a web strand by strand, we can construct our path through intentional actions and thoughts. By focusing on what we wish to create rather than getting tangled in past narratives or self-doubt, we can start weaving a story that aligns with our true desires. One of the most striking qualities of a spider is patience. Once a spider builds its web, it waits for nourishment to come, trusting that the work it has done will attract what it needs. This teaches us the power of setting intentions and allowing things to unfold in their own time. Instead of constantly pushing or forcing situations, right, we can set up framework for success and wait for the right opportunities to come to us. The spiral shape of a spider's web is also another powerful symbol representing the cycles of life and the journey inward. In constructing their web, spiders use spiral energy to expand outward while maintaining a strong center. This mirrors the way we move through life, facing challenges that may feel repetitive or cyclical, and always gaining a new perspective each time we encounter them. The spider reminds us that growth is not linear, and sometimes when we revisit the same lessons at deeper levels to gain greater understanding. The spiral journey helps us transform shadow aspects of ourselves into wisdom and strength. Embracing this process instead of resisting it allows us to move through life with greater awareness and grace. Spiders also embody balance and duality. With their 8 legs and 2-part body structure, they symbolize infinity and harmony, teaching us to seek balance within ourselves. Many people fear spiders, but this fear may reflect an inner resistance to confronting imbalances or unresolved aspects of our lives. By confronting these fears and accepting responsibility for our personal growth, we can begin to write new stories for ourselves, weaving lives that reflect our authentic selves. Incorporating spider symbolism into our lives can lead to greater patience, creativity, and balance. Just as the spider weaves its web with care and precision, we can mindfully construct our lives by recognizing the power we hold in shaping our reality. Whether it's creating a project, nurturing relationships, or navigating challenges, the spider reminds us that we are the weavers of our destiny. Lovely, lovely. All right, so let's get into more about its relation to the tarot. So on unlockingwords.wordpress.com, they talk about spider in the wild unknown animal spirit deck. Interesting. They're talking about, so the spiders in the deck, they're talking about, again, sort of this, that a lot of people have fear of spiders, and also that there's sort of this like shadow side to that. Apparently in the Wild Unknown deck, the spider is in the earth suit, and so someone asked, like, why is it, not an air suit and an earth suit? Because the air is where we generally, see spiders build their webs. It says not all spiders build webs in the air. Some build traps in the ground, like if you've ever seen like funnel or tunneling spiders. It says, but probably more relevant here is the spider's starring role in a number of creation myths. In these stories, they literally created the earth, weaving it into existence. So of course, the earth suit is the perfect place for them. In the image in the Wild Unknown deck, the spider's weaving a rainbow web. One could take that as a sign of diversity of life and existence. The web of life is complicated and varied, but we all have our part to play. Apparently, a group of spiders is called a clutter of spiders. Also, right, most of us know that spiders have 8 eyes and 8 legs, so the number 8 is very significant to the spider. In numerology, the number 8 is often associated with balance, something which is crucial when you live on a delicate web. And if you think about 8 is also, right, it's like an infinity sign turned on its head, and again, infinity, that sort of balance, the cycles, that all sort of comes back to the symbolism we talked about earlier. Let's see what else. And even when I would say people, right, are maybe more fearful of spiders, don't like to see them, right? Most of us can look back, and as long as we're not having to walk through them, we can admire their webs, right? They're fantastic, delicate. It's like a work of art, right? The spiders produce this silk, which in and of itself is very cool. And then they create these elaborate, almost, right, like in the way you'd create like a trampoline, with it's like strong, it's elasticity, it can stretch without breaking, for pretty far, and it's very delicate but also architecturally solid, and allows spiders to, right, that's their home, but also how they catch prey by basically creating a giant net that is sticky. And different species create different types of webs depending on the spider spinning it. So like I said, there's like funnel webs, there's sheet webs, there's orb webs, and more. It says also in religion and mythology, spiders have concealed people by spinning webs over cave entrances, earning them respect in some cultures. So in the Wild Unknown deck, they talk about the in here they depict the 8 of Pentacles, and it depicts again a spider and a large web. It says it's an excellent card for illustrating the spider's skills, talents, and perseverance. Some spiders have to remake their web daily, and yet they don't complain, they just get on with it. This tarot card is all about honing your skills, carefully paying attention to the details, mastering your abilities, and being focused and engaged in what you are doing. It says sometimes it can be asking you to look at your approach to life, and other times it can be a more literal suggestion to make something with your hands. There's a quote here from Sharon Blackie from If Woman Were Rooted that says, "Women are spinners and weavers. We are the ones who spin the threads and weave them into meaning and pattern. Like silkworms, we create the threads of our own substance, pulling the strong, fine fibers out of our own hearts and wombs. It's time to make some new threads, time to strengthen the frayed, wild edges of our own being, and then weave ourselves back into the fabric of our culture." Which I love that quote. So before I get into the decks, I actually have another deck that I found that has a spider in it, is the classic Horror Oracle 50 Cards and Guidebook by Ricardo Diseño. And I found this on partyinthemists.com, my fave place to find different animals in different decks. So they talk about spider in that deck is talked about as community and web weaving. It says she spins her silk alone in the dark with hope of collection, sticky with dreams, weaving the world's a wide web of connection. Masses of sticky spider webs make any Halloween decorations complete. The idea of a haunted house covered in the artwork of a big hairy spider is classic horror. Even those of us who appreciate our 8-legged friends sometimes hurriedly brush the stealthy webs if we run into them in the dark. Although most spiders are not venomous to humans have often like an innate fear of them. Maybe it's the fangs, maybe it's the poison, maybe it's the legs and the way they move, maybe it's where they live, often in dark, hidden places, or the way that our Western pop culture has demonized them by making the giant fierce and man-eating, right? Most of us can imagine movies or books we've read where you can picture the giant spider being terrifying. Some cultures, though, revere the spider in very positive ways. In many Native American traditions, the spider is the creature that gives birth to all the other animals, right, as in creation myths, and sustains the web of life. It says the goddess spider grandmother, there is also spider woman, is a key deity that brings wisdom, safety, and communication to all the tribes. She created and wove all the stars in the sky and makes soft webs for those that are troubled to rest upon and be supported by. Spiders' webs can be seen as a symbol of connection, not necessarily entrapment. There's a fine line sometimes between a family or a community supporting us and controlling us. This card looks at that discernment. It also suggests you review the way you communicate with the wider community, at work, or generally with others, and take steps to improve this or do it slightly differently. It also indicates that there needs to be a balance between what you do for yourself and what you do for others. If we give too much to the outside, our strength diminishes and we cannot weave the supporting web for ourselves. And again, this was from the Halloween Oracle by author Stacey DeMarco and artist Jimmy Manton. And I pulled that information from partingthemyths.com. And the other thing I found that was interesting online when I was searching about tarot and spiders and affiliations was that Christina Ricci has a deck called Cat Full of Spiders, and it's a tarot deck, which seems super cool, and maybe I need to try to find it. As someone that was mildly obsessed with Christina Ricci when I was younger, yeah, so like on the back of the cards you have cats and very sort of like witchy, gothic, and I love that it's called A Cat Full of Spiders, so it kind of has all of that aspect of it. It says, immerse yourself in the realm of Christina Ricci's filmography with a collectible tarot deck and guidebook. Includes a foreword by Christina Ricci detailing what tarot means to her and why it's the perfect format to detail her personal and professional journey. So there's a lot of depictions of her in the major arcana as different roles, and then yeah, which I just love. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I guess mostly that's just because of the name of the deck that this came up, but I will link to that as well in the show notes if you're interested in checking it out. Okay. Yeah, so let's get into what my decks that I actually have depict spiders. So in the Anima Mundi Tarot deck, the Hanged Man card is a spider coming down with its silk out of a tree. So instead of the sort of traditional like thing hanging upside down, the spider is actually sort of in its normal state with its head below and feet above as the silk comes out behind it. I believe it's an orb weaver type spider, but let me check the deck guidebook real quick. The Hanged Man. Oh, it's a Black Widow spider, a male Black Widow spider. It says the male Black Widow spider will sacrifice himself to the female during mating, allowing her to cannibalize him in order to assure successful copulation. Sometimes surrender is the best option. Perhaps you are currently stuck and can't make a decision. In this case, postponing said decision and taking the time to reflect may be best for you. Try looking at things in a different perspective. So upright, it's about self-sacrifice, new perspectives, suspension, feeling stuck, and letting go. All right. And then in the Sacerobito Tarot deck by Stasia Burrington. There's just a small spider featured in one of the cards. It's on the Seven of Wands. So it depicts the 7 wands across. One of them is made into an axe. So I guess it depicts 6 wands on a wand with an axe head on the top. And then there's a little spider down in the corner. And I believe she notes it in her in the guidebook as to partially why she does that. So I'm going to pull that up real quick. Okay, she talks about, so yes, the 7 of Wands is about holding ground, taking a stand, and showing resolution. This is another card of tension and suggests courage and strength to stick to your guns. I've shown one of the 7 Wands as having become an axe as becoming and displaying its own power. Notice, however, that the axe is not currently chopping. Stand your ground, but withhold violence unless absolutely necessary. She says, I threw the spider in because I thought it was cute. So I think also, right, when we think about this, like wands turning into becoming and displaying its own power, like that seems very emblematic of spiders, right? That spiders can create this web with this, which is this like beautiful thing, but also, right, when needed, they will wait patiently until something throws itself into the web or right flies into it, and then they will sort of make their move. And so there is also this aspect of, right, holding its ground, taking a stand, showing resolution, and having that like patience in that way. And then finally, in the Desert Illuminations Tarot deck by Lindsay D. Williams, the Four of Cactus, which would traditionally be the Four of Pentacles, depicts, has a spider in this image as well. I'm going to read from the guidebook because it does a good job of telling what's on the card. Come on. Oh, cactus. There we go. Okay, this is the Four of Cactus, which again would be the Four of Pentacles. So it says, a wise and powerful extraterrestrial sits on top of a giant tarantula in the middle of a sun-drenched desert. The tarantula and the alien are both surrounded by various cacti, possibly hoarding their magical powers. The alien wants to be cautiously benevolent while trying to teach the tarantula to be a bit more generous. This card asks you to carefully examine your relationships with material matters. Are you acting from a place of abundance or scarcity? Be careful of becoming so attached to your material possessions that you risk becoming a desert recluse, just like the tarantula. Right, so this is, again, pentacles. So cactus are generally, pentacles are about the material realm, right? Sometimes money, sometimes just like physical goods. And so this card is saying, right, like, look at our relationship with material goods. I think this is funny right now because I'm moving soon and we just got a giant dumpster delivered to our house outside. And so today and over the next 4 days, I will be making lots of decisions about what I'm keeping, what goes in the dumpster, what I'm trying to re-give or donate, and trying to not become so attached to things just because I've had them a long time and not that I like love and appreciate them in that way, which can be challenging for me. So maybe for you, this is like something to think about as well. Be careful of becoming so attached to your material possessions that you risk becoming a desert recluse, just like the tarantula. I think also of being just overwhelmed or visually overwhelmed or overstimulated in your own space. I think sometimes it can be very relaxing. I'm definitely like a maximalist decorator. And so I love color and texture and lots of different things. And sometimes when I go into someone's home that is a lot more minimalist or does have a fairly cohesive theme, it is very calming to me because I'm like, wow, there's like no visual clutter in that way. So I'm going to be, trying to take an approach between maybe my norm of maximalism and paring it down a little bit, especially as I'm going to move. All right. Okay, so let's dive in and see what the cards have say today. So what message does the spider have for us today? Is there anything else we need to know? And I'm going to pull from the Herb Crafters Tarot. That is artwork done by Joanna Powell Colbert and written by Letitia Guthrie. This is my newest deck. It's very soulful and pretty, what's the right word? Like warm and inviting. Okay, so my cards are backwards. There we go. Okay. I will give it a quick shuffle. So yeah, what message does Spider have for us today? Is there anything else we need to know, to keep in mind? Are there any other things we need to be patient about? Okay. I pulled the 3 of Water, which is about lemon balm, and it depicts this sort of like lovely tea party. And I actually pulled this card on Sunday for someone else, so that is interesting. Okay, 3 of Water, lemon balm. It says an afternoon tea party is set for 3 on a delicate lace tablecloth in front of a giant lemon balm bush. Sweet confections, mismatched china, and children's toys are all on the table. An old glass bottle used as a vase holds a single bright blue flower. The bees buzz, the giggles of little children are heard in the distance. Happiness is contagious. A favorite of bees, the intoxicating scent of lemon balm brings life to the garden. Rejoice, make merry, and celebrate your friendships. Spend time with loved ones, make new friends too. You have already done the work to attract the right people. Your community awaits you with open arms. Lemon balm spreads widely without effort, so allow relationships to grow with ease. Show your admiration and appreciation for others. Express joy in all areas of your life. Lemon balm tea supports peace and calms an anxious heart. Now is the time to proclaim your true feelings. So if you want to do some crafting with the 3 of Water, or you have access to some lemon balm, you can make a fresh lemon balm tea. So just steep it right with hot water. You can invite friends over for a tea party and share your joys over dishes of lemon balm sorbet. That sounds lovely. And it says you can dip a lemon balm posy in sacred water, sprinkle it around to brighten dark and stagnant spaces. And the spirit of the card says, lift your spirit with the scent of happiness. Pleasure shared is pleasure multiplied. Celebrate your heart's delight. Okay, so we are celebrating, right? That is what the spider is telling us today, right? Maybe we've been patient and now it's time for celebration. Okay, so in closing, if you'd like to join me on the journey of using the tarot for transformation, click on the link in the show notes to indicate your interest, and more info will be on the way. We'll be working together for 12 weeks of calls and journaling to discover what happens when we want to transform our lives through the tarot. Links for the tarot decks I talk about will always be in the show notes and on my website if you'd like to look at them or purchase them. And thanks for joining me today on Everyday Tarot. Just as a reminder, the podcast comes out daily, Monday through Friday for all of 2025. You can email me, me@CamilleASaunders.com with your thoughts, questions, and more. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.